Have you noticed tasks that were once easy becoming more difficult? Do you want to move well and pain-free? Then check out this video to find out what you should be doing.
Hi, this is Glenn, and today we're going to talk about how to start a strength training program. When you're starting a strength training program, it's important to cover the 7 different movement patterns that our body does. The first movement pattern is push. There's also pull. We have a bending movement pattern, a squat, a one-leg dominant or lunge movement pattern. We also have rotation, and then we have gait, which is basically walking. When you're engaging or starting a strength training program, it's important that you cover all 7 of these movement patterns. Let's start with the push movement pattern. So a push movement pattern, just like it sounds, it's pushing. It could also be over the head. Typically it's pushing away from the body. So the most common form of a push is a push up. Depending on your fitness level will dictate what would be best for you. We'll link some different options, but you have push-ups from the knees, also push-ups from the toes, and then we also have one, it's called push-ups from an elevated platform, like a step or a bench or even a counter if you're just starting out. So you should choose one pushing exercise with your exercise program. If you're a little more advanced, you could choose things like a bench press, a dumbbell bench press, an incline press, an overhead press. Be careful on your shoulders on those, especially the overhead press. Those are a little bit more advanced, so if you're just starting out, I would gravitate towards the push-up, choosing one of those exercises. The next movement pattern is pull. So if we think of a pull, the 2 main go-tos are a lat pull down or a pull-up. Those are in the same family. A pull-up can be pretty challenging. So to do a pull-up that's not quite so challenging, you could use a pull-up machine. You could also use a band that helps give you some assistance. Or you could choose a lat pull down. Those are found at most gyms, and it's a great exercise to get those pulling movement patterns. In addition to a pull-up and a lat pull-down, the other most common movement pattern is a row. So a row could be a seated row, a standing row, also what's called a TRX row. It's where you're pulling your shoulder blades together, back and together. Those are the 2 most common. I would start by choosing one. Again, a lat pull down, a pull up, or an assisted pull up, or you could choose some type of rowing pattern. But you should choose one of those exercises to make sure that we have the pull movement pattern covered. Okay, another movement pattern is the bend. And that's where we just bend at the waist, also bend the knees slightly. With the bend, the most common is what's called a deadlift. Great exercise. Now with the deadlift, if you start adding load, you want to be careful and make sure that you're not lifting too much weight and also that your back stays flat. But a deadlift is the most common bending pattern. You can also do something that's called deadshifting. That's another example. If you're just starting out, I'd probably start with a deadshifting pattern to get that general bending movement pattern before adding load and going into some type of deadlift. Next would be a squatting movement pattern, and it's pretty much what it sounds like. You're basically going to be squatting up and down. So if you're just starting out, a basic body weight squat where you're just lowering your body up and down, depending on your fitness level, depending on your mobility, exercise experience, might change how low you can go. Ideally, when you do a squat, you want to go to where your thighs are parallel with the ground. If you can't go that far at the beginning, you might want to just go halfway down and then eventually work your way up. Or you could also do something that's called a ball squat, where you put a ball on your back against the wall and it allows you to squat a little deeper. You could also hold on to something. Just make sure you don't use your arms to pull yourself up, but holding on to something often will allow you to go a little bit deeper in the squat. So we just want to make sure that we choose a squatting motion. Again, if you're new to exercise, choose a body weight squat. If you're more advanced or you've been working out a while, you could do a loaded squat. That's where we put a barbell, for example, on our back, and we do the same movement pattern, but now we have extra load, which will challenge our muscles more significantly. If you don't have access to a barbell, you could use dumbbells or even a band, but a barbell would be my first choice. Dumbbells would be my second choice. But if you're more advanced, you could do the squatting movement pattern, again, with some extra load. Besides the squatting movement pattern, we also have a one leg dominant or lunge pattern. And that's where we're emphasizing one leg during a movement. So just like the name is, one leg dominant or lunge, your lunge is a perfect example of a one leg dominant pattern that you can incorporate in your workout. Similar to the squat, you might not be able to go all the way down to where your knee hits the ground. So you might just go halfway, or just like the squat, give yourself some assistance where you can go a little bit lower to pull yourself up. So that's an example of the one leg dominant. Now, that's a little more challenging. An exercise that's in that same family and tends to be a little easier, it's a step up. So you put one foot on a step and just propel your body up. So either a lunge or a step up you should choose. And one quick thing on the step up, you have varying heights. As your fitness level improves, you would increase the height. A good place to start would be, about 12 inches. And then you could even go up higher, up to about 16 inches. And it also partially depends on how tall you are. The taller you are, the higher the step you can get away with. And also similar to the lunge and really almost any exercise, as you advance, you want to increase the resistance, so you could add a barbell, dumbbells, or even a weight vest to a step up or a lunge as your fitness improves. So that's again an example of a one leg dominant or lunge movement pattern. The next movement pattern is called rotation or rotate. So in everyday life, we have to do something where we rotate. We get in the car, we're rotating. So we should choose an exercise that covers this movement pattern. Not only do you have to choose one that rotates, you could choose what's called an anti-rotation. So that's where some resistance wants to pull you in one direction, but you actually have to resist that, and that's actually working those rotational muscles that we have. So an example would be a Palloff press. You could do that. That's an anti-rotation exercise. Or you could do a cable or band rotation. And also with the Palloff press, you use a cable or band. So the cable rotation, would you take a band or a cable and you're just going to rotate your body against the resistance. With the rotation movement pattern, it's important, if you have a history of back pain, when you rotate, you want to make sure that you lift the heel of the back leg to help take pressure off your lower back, or you might just want to skip the actual rotation movement and do a Palloff press where you're not actually rotating. Also, make sure to brace the abdominals when you do any exercise, but specifically if you do a rotation movement pattern. And the last movement pattern we really don't need to do in the gym, that's gait. And gait is something where you're gonna do every day. Just walking to the gym, you're actually using gait. It's walking, it's running, it's jumping. That's the basic movement pattern. We typically get that just in activities of daily living. So again, we wanna make sure that we cover those 7 movement patterns in our strength training program. We gave you an outline of those 7 different things, except for the gait. Starting out, choose 1 exercise per movement pattern. Do 1 to 2 sets if you're just starting out. If you've been working out a little while and you want to do a little bit more, you could go up to 3 sets, okay? So 1, 2, if you've been working out a while, 3 sets. Your repetitions should be between 10 and 15, and that's gonna get your bases covered. It's a good starting exercise program for you. This is Glenn. We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up below and subscribe to our channel. Also, head over to freedomforlifefitness.com and learn more about how we can help you reach your health and fitness goals.